things don't bother me like it bothers somebody else.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not denying that I don't have homicidal thoughts every moment I'm awake. You know that. I know that.
Oh, okay. So you have homicidal thoughts every moment you're awake, but you don't act on them ever. You haven't acted on them.
I've controlled them.
Give me a break.
I've done very well.
You didn't control anything. You didn't control anything. You did exactly what you wanted to do when you wanted to do it. Just like with Jason. Everything's for a purpose and a reason.
My husband?
Yep.
Jason gave up.
I know. I know.
Hello, and welcome to Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. The woman in the clip you just saw is Kelly Cochran. She's in police custody and is being questioned for murder, not one, but 2 murders. And here's the thing. Kelly Cochran claims that she has killed 9 people. She's also claimed she's killed 21 people. So who knows? On top of that, she claims that she fed at least one of her victims to her friends at a barbecue. Yes, you heard that right. Is this woman the serial killer she claims to be, or just a psychopathic narcissist who wants to go down in the history books as a female serial killer? There are those who believe this woman is a serial killer, and just weeks ago, in March of 2025, a new documentary about this woman and the crimes she committed came out. Today, we are talking about Kelly Cochran, also called the Devil Woman of Michigan. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me. I'm your host, Stacy Lee. Let's begin. Our story begins in the small and isolated town of Iron River, Michigan, known for its tight-knit and peaceful surroundings. In the summers, the area is green and lush. In the winters, it's brutally cold. Iron River is a depressed community. The industry is dying, and it's a tough place to make a living, but the people who live there and call it home love it. Most of them were born there. Kelly Cochran is not among those people. She was born in Maryville, Indiana in June of 1982. In high school, Kelly met this man, Jason Cochran. They were neighbors, and then they were high school sweethearts. After Jason and Kelly graduated from high school, they got married in 2002 after attending Purdue University. Jason started a pool installation and repair business, but chronic back pain hindered his ability to work. Kelly and Jason made a very unusual pact when they got married. Most couples promise to love and care for each other until death does them part. Kelly and Jason made a different vow. If either of them was ever unfaithful in their marriage, the partner that cheated would be forced to kill their lover. Okay. It sounds like a very dramatic wedding vow, but Kelly Cochran took it seriously. Too seriously. Kelly Cochran met this man, 53-year-old Christopher Regan, at work. The two began having an affair. Kelly's husband, Jason, found out about the affair, and so, according to their wedding vow, this meant that Kelly had to kill Chris. On October 14th, 2014, the event took place. There are different versions of this story, so I'm going to give you both of them. The first version says that Kelly lured Chris to her house, they had sex, and then Chris Regan was shot and killed by Jason, who was lying in wait. The second version of the story is that Kelly and Chris were having sex, and Jason walked in on them and caught them, and then he killed Chris. Kelly's story has changed over and over. Did Jason shoot and kill Chris, or did Kelly? It depends on which version of her story you believe. Neighbors would later tell police that they heard a late-night gunshot followed by the sound of power tools going in the middle of the night. Well, why was that? Because after Chris was murdered, Kelly and Jason Cochran worked together to dismember his body using saws and other tools. They took the body parts and scattered them in a remote area of the Upper Peninsula's dense forest. But then Kelly would later claim that she took some of Chris Regan's body and ground it up to make hamburgers and other things that were fed to her family and friends at a barbecue. This is a wild claim, but we've seen this happen before, and there is testimony from at least one person that they remember this barbecue and they thought their hamburger tasted weird. They don't call her the devil woman of Michigan for nothing, you guys. This same man that went to the barbecue told investigators that 3 times in 1 week, Kelly invited him and others over for dinner. One night they had kebabs. One night they had tacos. This man said, there was so much meat, no side dishes or anything like that, just meat. Now, after Chris disappeared, his coworkers reported him missing almost immediately. He was reliable and he was a creature of habit. So when he didn't show up for work, the alarm bells were raised. Christopher was a divorced dad. He had 2 kids and he was planning to move to North Carolina to start a new life when he vanished. In late October of 2014, Chris Regan's car was found abandoned near Caspian, Michigan. There was a sticky note inside the car where Christopher had written down the directions to Kelly Cochran's house. This is proof that Kelly had told Chris to come to her house. He'd written the directions down and then gone to her house. This, along with statements from coworkers, people that knew Christopher was having an affair with Kelly, led the police to the Cochrans. Chris Regan was reported missing, and for 2 years, no one knew what had happened to him, but Kelly Cochran was interviewed. Police Chief Laura Frizzo quickly grew suspicious of Kelly Cochran after reviewing her cell phone records, which showed frequent communication between Kelly and Chris. When Kelly was interviewed, her behavior was erratic and inconsistent. She claimed that she saw Chris the night he disappeared, but the details she gave were vague. Jason Cochran was brought in for questioning as well. He appeared anxious and stressed, but admitted nothing. Several months go by, and then Laura Frizzo decides to go to the Cochran house to talk to Kelly and Jason in order to convince them to come back to the station for a second interview.
Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
I'm Chief Laura Frizzo with the Ogden River Police.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Is it possible to put the dog away so I could come in and talk with you for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want.
Your husband's here too?
Yeah.
Do you want to just have him come in here as well?
Yeah. Jace?
Hi, Jason.
Hello.
They're not vicious.
No, I know. They just don't like, and usually they don't like. I'm Laura. I'm the
Hi.
Chief of Police here in Iron River.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Yeah, generally, I find with dogs, it's not how friendly they are. They just generally don't like the uniform.
Right.
So, I realized, and I've reviewed the interviews with the detectives. Basically, we have an investigation going on, as you know. And I did call in a couple of detectives to help me out because I had so many things to work on at once. This weekend, I reviewed everything. I personally was wondering if I could get you guys to be willing to come down and talk with me at the office.
Again?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like to talk to each of you if that's all right.
Okay.
Would
And
that
that's
be
in
okay?
regards to the same thing?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I just had some questions, follow-up, and I would like to talk to you separately if possible.
Both Kelly and Jason agreed to give second interviews, but not much comes of those, and they are released for a second time. The Cochrans stay calm and collected in their interviews, but secretly they were rattled. Days later, the police got a phone call. Kelly and Jason Cochran were seen late at night throwing their belongings into the car. The couple had packed up and left the state and moved back to Indiana where they were from. This confirmed Laura Frizzo's suspicions. The couple was trying to run away from what they had done. So Frizzo begins working with Indiana detective Jeremy Ogden. He brings Kelly in for an interview in Indiana, but she just sits there and stares at him.
You're not going to talk to me now?
He's frustrated.
How do you think I feel?
don't know.
Well, you probably should know. You're the one who's been giving me the runaround.
That's why I'm here.
Okay, so can we get it done?
Kelly doesn't say hardly a word, and so Ogden lets her go. He was kind of trying to get inside Kelly's head, and he was confident that she would call him after leaving the station, and he was right. Kelly Cochran phoned the cop about 20 minutes after he let her go home. The phone call does not end with a confession. There was no body, and so the police felt there was not enough evidence to arrest either of the Cochrans. But Laura Frizzo and Detective Jeremy Ogden keep working together. The two cops were confident that Kelly and Jason Cochran had killed Chris Regan, but the evidence just wasn't there. Behind closed doors, Kelly and Jason's relationship began to unravel. According to friends and family members, the marriage had always been volatile, but Jason was having a difficult time living with the secret that he and his wife had killed a man, cut up his body, and dumped him. Jason Cochran had a conscience. Kelly does not. And then Jason Cochran died. Jason Cochran is found dead in his house. He is dead from a heroin overdose. At least that's what it was ruled initially. When word started to get around to people who knew Jason that this was his cause of death, they were confused. Jason was not known to use heroin. Kelly made a Facebook post about Jason's death, thanking people for their sympathy and stating she was grateful to those who had brought food, flowers, and brought cash. Now, Laura Frizzo, the cop who was already suspicious of Kelly Cochran, heard that people were talking about Jason's suspicious death, and this added fuel to her fire. Then Laura heard that Kelly was making disturbing comments to her family and even to law enforcement. In one conversation, Kelly Cochran claimed she had killed Jason as revenge for Christopher's death. She told some people that she had injected Jason with a lethal dose of heroin and then smothered him with a pillow. Investigators began to look into these claims, and as they did, Kelly Cochran began to spiral. She became paranoid and even more erratic. One day, Kelly picked up and left the state. She started using fake names, and she was making these very bizarre posts on social media. Frizzo and Ogden continued to push, and Kelly Cochran was brought in again for an interview. It's now April of 2016, and Kelly Cochran finally cracks.
So you can sit here and you can try to manipulate this because that's what you do. Or you can sit here and you can decide to tell me the real story about everything. Because the real story is that you took part in things. And you enjoyed it.
My attorney told me I'm stupid for talking to you guys.
Don't talk to me then. You don't want to talk to me, don't talk to me. I don't care how far I've driven, it really doesn't matter.
Nobody
I'll
tells
turn
me what
around,
to
I'll
do.
go home.
Well, you can do that too, but nobody tells me what to do. I just
All
don't.
I'm asking you to do is to sit in the room, and I'm giving you the same ground rules that you gave me on the very first time we met in the room. Say it how it is. Don't bullshit me. Don't sit across the table and bullshit me because it doesn't work. You just sat here and said you chose me because I see things that others don't. Right?
Right.
Okay, so how on earth is it that we're at this juncture if I see things that others don't and they're not true? Good question, right?
Very good question.
Okay, so give me the answer.
Maybe you think I'm better than I am.
Whatever. Okay.
You wouldn't be happy with just Jason's.
You know what? You don't have to talk to me about anything else other than Jason and Chris, and I'm fine with that. And be honest. I was just hoping that after all the time we spent together that you would actually have an honest conversation with me. And it doesn't matter. This is the last case I'm doing. I want you to know that.
What do you mean?
I'm no longer doing investigations. I've stepped out of it.
Really?
Yep. This is my last case.
Why?
Time for me to do something different.
The look on his face. Was confusion? Fear? More confusion than anything?
Did you do anything?
He didn't move much. He choked. He was vomiting at that point.
He was vomiting while you were doing it.
Yeah. Can you imagine how it is to drown on your own fluids? Probably pretty painful. Didn't take long. Maybe a minute. And then I passed out.
How'd you put your hands on him?
I was sitting on him. He was in the bed just like I told you he was.
What time did it happen?
Time, I don't know. I'm gonna say right before we laid down. It wasn't right by the 911 call.
So why did you wait? Why did you wake up when you did?
I don't know.
Why did you do what you did?
In the morning?
Yeah.
There's two reasons, and I'm not sure which you have to believe that. I didn't know if it really happened at that point, because like I said, I was a little bit out of it, but I was still, lucid enough to know what had happened. But at the same time, I didn't feel bad. But I maybe felt bad for his parents, because I had never done anything impulsive like that. Ever. That's not like me.
Yeah, but I mean, you did pre-plan a little bit earlier in the day.
Because of the heroin?
Yeah. You knew what you were going to do then, right?
Yeah.
Kelly Cochran finally confesses. She admits to helping kill Christopher Regan, and she admits that she killed her husband, Jason. On April 28th, 2016, Kelly Cochran is arrested and charged with multiple crimes, including first-degree murder. She then led police to the area where Chris Regan's remains were dumped. On May 24th, 2016, Kelly agrees to lead the investigators to the site where she dumped items related to Christopher Regan's murder.
So, how far out did he throw it?
Okay.
No.
But that's a lot of water.
So he just tossed it like that?
Yeah. Is this rock bottom too?
I don't think so.
Dirt.
Maybe.
There's no telling. It
But
could
I mean,
roll.
I can have
Rocks
the
would
dirt.
It could roll, be pushed. All right. All right.
Yep.
Where to? Going down?
Yeah. I'm good.
You sure?
If I fall, I fall. Go to the left, left.
To the left?
Yeah, not far.
Through here?
I've become a professional in these.
Where to now?
Right here. It's weighted down.
It's what?
It's weighted down.
What do you mean?
Crystal clear water.
And?
It's weighted down.
Weighted down where?
Right in the water here.
It's in the water right here.
About 10 foot out. It's weighted.
Weighted with what?
The rock. It's got a hook in the bottom of it. If you want, I will walk out there if you want.
How deep is it where it's at?
It's not deep.
How are you and I supposed to have a conversation about something that's out in the water and I have to get people to go get it?
I said I'll go in. Shackles and all.
Can't.
Why?
Can't do that.
Why not? I'm not gonna drown.
No. Doesn't work that way.
No boots?
No. I can't go in the water. You told me this was buried.
I said originally it was buried.
Yeah. And what's it in?
It's in a Ziploc bag that's sealed. There's 2 bags. You get one on your face.
It's in a Ziploc bag. It's sealed. It's right out here. All right.
No one's gonna get in. I really can't get in?
No, you can't get in.
Why?
You're telling me it's 10 feet out right here.
Yeah.
In a Ziploc bag.
And it's weighted.
With
so
what?
Nobody was gonna,
How's it weighted?
It's got a stone on the bottom. It's weighted. That way nobody was gonna get it. He's gotta go up further.
How far?
Probably 30 foot from where he's at.
30
He's
foot?
gotta curve around to the left.
Said you're gonna curve around to the left, Ryan.
He might not be able to hear you.
Said go up further, curve around to the left.
Over the rocks where he's
Over the rock where you're at.
Curve to the left.
Curve to the left.
10 foot off to his left if he curves around there.
10 foot off to your left as you curve around there.
And there really is a metal plate, so she can use that.
Hey,
Laura,
she says there really is a metal plate there. All of this. Did you really kill 21 people?
Why don't you see that?
I don't know. I mean, it all has to come together. You know what I mean? And you're hesitant on things with me that there's no reason for you to be hesitant with me at this point.
But there's two reasons for that.
Okay.
I think the self-preservation goes out after what we talked about yesterday. Kind of has to. I mean, I'm already invested in what I've told you. I really can't take that back. What I showed you.
But you understand something, right? You understand that if it's not true, I don't want to know.
What do you mean?
I only want the truth.
Right.
That's all I've ever wanted.
Right. And I played a lot of games because I was hesitant. And the other important thing was with my family. I knew this is... Some of the details are going to come out on what happened. Some of the things, even just the brief details I've told you. Can you imagine what even just my mom and dad are going to feel about that? Because there's, like I put with them, there's good and bad, but it kind of goes beyond bad, doesn't it?
Well, I mean...
It goes into evil, and I've...
So, do you think you're evil?
Yeah.
Do you meet people with the sole intention of killing them?
I try not to.
But is that what happens, or how quickly do you know?
Right away.
Yeah?
A lot of people, there were people that come across my life, like the one I didn't really want to give the last name, because I wanted to make it as horrible for him as possible. And I didn't lose sleep over what happened. I really, even at that age, I didn't lose sleep over that. But the anger that I think I felt...
You never worried about getting caught along the way? Why?
Because I'm so sure of myself.
Yeah. Just like now.
I'm caught. I caught myself.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that. I know that. I'm not dumb.
I know.
Yeah.
Kelly Cochran went on trial in 2017. The state presented its evidence, and on day 9 of the trial, the moment that everyone had been waiting for came. Kelly Cochran took the stand. When she did, we learned that Kelly was not just having an affair with Chris Regan. She was having multiple affairs.
We started this relationship with Mr. Erickson.
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
We, on smoke breaks, we'd go, we all, for smoke breaks, we get like, I think it was 10 minutes in the morning, we'd go out and smoke. Everybody would talk, shoot the shit out there. On lunch breaks a couple times, he'd run with me when I'd go get a pizza, Mr. T's, or stop by a gas station. Eventually we ended up, I think I gave him my number, and we ended up hanging out outside of work.
Okay. And when would you typically meet him?
After it was with Chris.
So, give me just a typical day when you're meeting with Chris, and you're meeting with Eric, and you're working. How would your day go, basically?
I get up at 3 a.m., get ready for work. Some mornings I would fight with Jason. Some mornings I got out with getting out of bed. I would do my shift at Oldenburg, be done about anywhere from 3 to 4, sometimes later. After that, Chris got off about 4:15. I'd meet him at his place. We'd have dinner, we'd have sex, or we'd watch movies, talk, whatever. Not all those things every time, but for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And then me and Eric would either grab 12-pack. He liked wine a lot, so we'd get a bottle of wine once in a while. We'd sit up at a lake local. There was 4 different places we went and drank and hung out.
Fair to say you were pretty busy.
Yes,
And fair to say you weren't home a whole heck of a lot, something like that.
right.
What, if you know, what was Jason doing while you were gone during all this time?
What was he doing, or what did he tell me he was doing?
No, what's your impression of what he was doing?
I guess he went fishing. He'd hang out with David and Todd Saylor. There was a couple that he'd hang out with in Castro. But pretty much walk around town, look for me.
The defense made arguments that Kelly Cochran was a victim. She was afraid of her husband, Jason, and he forced her to kill Chris Regan. Laura Frizzo took the stand and assured the judge and jury that Kelly Cochran was not the woman she was trying to portray in court, that she was in fact a cold-blooded murderer who had admitted to her crimes. Kelly's demeanor in court was snarky and cold, and the press described her as being like the devil.
In Iron County, the murder trial of Kelly Cochran continued today. Former Iron River City Police Chief Laura Frizzo remained on the stand well into the afternoon. TV6's Iron Mountain Kingsford Bureau reporter Monique Lopez has more on today's developments.
Cochran is accused of murdering her former lover, 53-year-old Christopher Regan of Iron River. She allegedly helped her now deceased husband, Jason Cochran, kill, dismember, and then hide the remains of Regan. But the defense argues that Cochran was victimized in fear of her life and was forced by Jason to assist in committing these acts.
You are talking to her about why didn't you open up with us?
She said that even though he loved her, he would kill her for that type of betrayal.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Even though he loved her, he would kill her for that type of betrayal.
Today, for the first time since the 3-week trial began, jurors heard from the alleged murderer. A video of the 34-year-old Cochran explaining in her own words how the killing and mutilation of Regan occurred in the basement of the Cochran home was played in court.
So this cut like this from up here. And I would say almost every drop of blood was on the part was on the floor.
Regan's 2 sons in the courtroom this morning sat and watched as the jury also saw police footage of the woman accused of killing their father lead Frizzo to where she said Regan's remains could be found. Frizzo remained on the stand for most of the day. Witness testimony is scheduled to begin again tomorrow morning. Monique Lopez, TV6 News, Crystal Falls.
On March 1st, 2017, after a 2-week trial, a jury found Kelly Cochran guilty of all 5 charges related to the 2014 murder and dismemberment of Christopher Regan. On May 10th, Kelly was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
It's been almost 3 months since the jury found now convicted murderer Kelly Cochran guilty on all counts.
Tomorrow, the 34-year-old will hear her fate at her sentencing in Iron County Court. TV6's Iron Mountain Kingsford Bureau reporter Monique Lopez tonight takes us through the nearly 3-week trial leading to Cochran's conviction.
One of the county's most notorious trials, as prosecuting attorney Melissa Powell put it, bonded 2 lovers in blood.
Kelly and Jason Cochran were bonded in blood. As you can see from these text messages, what was a failing marriage in August and September of 2014 became a love fest after Chris Regan was killed on October 14th, 2014.
Numerous versions of it had been told by the murderer to law enforcement, but on the 6th day of her murder trial, Kelly Cochran told the jury her side of the story. After mutilating the body, Cochran said Jason stuffed Regan's remains into several trash bags, but that she refused to assist him or have any part in helping him carry them. The nearly 3-week murder trial had been a long time coming, and on February 28th, it finally came to an end. After deliberating for just under 3 hours, the verdict was in. Guilty on all counts in the death of 53-year-old Christopher Regan.
A victims' rights coordinator read a statement written by the family of Chris Regan. It said, in part, being exposed to the evil world of someone like Kelly Cochran is not something we, as a family, ever thought we'd experience, but we remain a strong family and will continue to heal and move forward. There is some solace in knowing that Kelly Cochran will never be able to inflict her murderous impulse on any other unsuspecting victims. Society will now be safe from Kelly Cochran. We believe she has no remorse for what she has done. Therefore, an attempt to explain to her what she most certainly will not understand would fall on deaf ears. Kelly Cochran was sent off to rot in prison, but her story was far from over. Kelly Cochran enters into a plea deal regarding the murder of her husband, Jason Cochran. Kelly pled guilty to a murder charge, and in return, the prosecutor agreed not to seek the death penalty, a life sentence, or any additional charges against her. She will serve her 65-year sentence for this murder consecutively to her Michigan sentence, which is a life sentence with no possibility of parole. Kelly Cochran will never leave prison. The investigation Discovery TV show called Dead North featured this story. Fox News produced a documentary called Love You to Death. Kelly Cochran has also given ABC News an interview from prison where she vehemently proclaimed her innocence. So we've gone from the police body cam footage of Kelly claiming she's a serial killer to her saying she's completely innocent. She's loony and she's evil. There has never been any information to verify that Kelly Cochran has killed anyone other than Chris Regan and Jason Cochran, but there are those who are convinced that she is, in fact, a serial killer. I guess time will tell. All I know is that this woman is evil. Her husband was evil. They have sons, by the way, and I feel for them. I can't imagine what they've gone through learning who their parents were when they thought no one was looking, and I hope they're doing okay. Kelly Cochran sits in prison at the Huron Valley Women's Complex in Ypsilanti, Michigan. She's still trying to get attention. She likes giving interviews. She wants people to be afraid of her. All I know is the world is a safer place now that the devil woman of Michigan is locked away until she takes her last hot breath. I hope you enjoyed that dark story. I appreciate you joining me today on Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. Hit the like button if you would, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me. It helps a lot. I want to give a special thank you to my patrons. If you join my Patreon, you will get bonus content that you cannot see or hear anywhere else. You know, I've got my podcast going. Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee is on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon. I post brand new episodes every Monday and Wednesday. Don't forget about our fundraiser. If you watch this short video on my channel, it will tell you everything our community is doing to donate money to police departments. We're trying to help solve some cold crimes. I sure hope you're well, my friends. I appreciate each and every one of you. Stay safe and be kind to each other, and I will see you next time on Dark Hearts with Stacy Lee. Bye.